Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I am here with my new podcast. It's called I Am Everywhere. Okay, and I am everywhere. So, I'm here with a new guest today. His name is.
RoShawn C. Evans.
All right. First, I'm going to introduce you to me before we have a little discussion with him, and you'll learn all the facts about him and his organization, what they do for the community, how they've been helping and having boots on the ground, and really making a very big difference in the Houston community today. So, my name is Jermaine Laveau. Some people call me Gigi. Maybe your family or a close friend, and which case you can call me Jermaine or Gigi. But others might call me Aunt Jermaine or Aunt Gigi and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also in the music business. So, people in the gospel rap, which are younger than me, they call me Auntie G. Okay. So, but, I become whoever you want me to be at the time that I'm with you. Just feel comfortable to call me what you please. So let me just say what the two G's stand for. For me, they stand for good girl or God's girl. Now, that's my story, and I'm sticking to that one. Okay, so, but not I'm not here just to talk about me today. And every week we'll have these podcasts on Tuesdays. I want to know more about the audience. I want to know more about my guests, like Roshan. I want to know about your thoughts, your passions, and your forte. See, because this is going to be a place where you can dive deep into your interests. And I want you to be able to be honest and, make comments on Facebook. You can make some comments on YouTube, wherever you're watching from. And just be yourself. This is a place where I'm definitely going to be myself. If you can tell, I'm having a bad hair day. I have one earring on, but I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to be myself, and I don't care because this is my platform. All right. Other than that, everybody is free to chime in on the comments, and I want you to give your best, attaboys. If you want to have kudos, if you have questions, we'll attend to those later after the show. Okay. But let's dig a little deeper into what this whole podcasting is about. It's called I Am Everywhere, which basically it caters to my own personality because my personality, I'm a very diverse person. I get bored easy. I have my hands in this and that, and I dabble in different, types of jobs. I'm like a Jamaican. I have 100 jobs. Okay. I'm not gonna say I have all the money that the Jamaicans might make, but I have 100 jobs. So I'm everywhere. I'm with music. I'm with real estate. I'm with education. I have kids. We go places. We go out of town. We have sports. We have horse. I mean, what do you call that? FFA. I got a daughter in FFA. And every time I look around, there's all these different facets of my life. So there's no way that I could just make this podcast a single topic. It has to be more catered to my personality. And so there's going to be a variety of topics. Every week you come here, you're going to get something new, whether it be food, we'll be talking about uh, fitness, we'll be talking about religion. Two of the most diverse, I mean, two of the most toughest, what are topics to talk about? What is what? Religion. And the other is what?
Politics.
There you go. So we're gonna talk about those things. I don't care how hard it is. We're still gonna dwell into it. Okay. So during our time together, we'll just traverse a vast landscape of topics, basically. Um, Relationships, economy. We can talk about business, finance. Fixing your credit. How do you build your credit score? How do you trade? I mean, these are some of the things that I've actually dibbled and dabbled with. So that's why I am everywhere in this podcast. Alrighty, so after we tackle everything, even those challenging conversations about the politics and religions, it can strain a friendship sometimes. True story, I have a cousin who we talked about Trump and Obama, and it was on Facebook. So we ended up having to unfriend each other, and we're first cousins. So hey, it happens sometimes. You got to be very careful. But we just decided we will remain cousins and not politician enemies. Okay, political enemies. Okay. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to Mr. Roshan and talk about his organization. I'm honored to introduce him because he's a distinguished guest of mine. There's somebody that I've met at a flea market, basically, and he was out there selling his books, and my daughter was selling sea moss, and there it is, right there. That's it. It's called Stolen Identity, and he's gonna get a chance to touch bases about that book. My 14-year-old son is actually reading that book, and it's the first time that he actually was interested in something. Yes, and he came to me and said, "Mom, um, this is what's going on with that book," you know. And I was like, "Oh, son, you're finally reading something that you could talk about. I really, really appreciate this book because apparently something in it is resonating with him as a 14-year-old young Black African American young man. So I can't wait for you to share that with the rest of the community." Okay. Anyways, let's just go ahead and talk about pure justice. I know you guys have been on the front lines advocating for crucial legislative changes and that will reshape the community, right? And it's for the better. The unwavering dedication to doing what's right by the people is nothing short of inspiring to me. So, this organization is definitely something that I believe is going to be around for a long, long time, and I can see how it will grow. So let's go ahead and introduce what it is that you do, Roshan.
Thank you. First, I want to say I am everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love the name of the podcast. When people look at me on social media or just out in the world regularly, they say, "Man, I just seen you."
Oh,
Now
yeah.
you, and then they be looking at my page. They're like, "Man,
Right.
you everywhere." So
You like that?
I'm thankful to be the first guest.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Um, as Gigi stated, my name is RoShawn C. Evans. I like to give everybody the entire name with the middle initial because we are in a digital age where
go.
everybody like to look you up.
That's
they
right.
like to Google you and see who you are, what you about, what you've been involved in, pull your past record, see what kind of dirt they can find.
Yeah.
And when you look for Roshan, I want to make sure you get the right one. You're
I
going
know,
to get
that's
everything,
right.
the good, the bad, everything on the Google search.
There you go.
Roshan C. Evans. But I was born in Hollywood, California.
Hollywood, get out of here.
I was raised in Flint, Michigan. Never seen Hollywood until I made it to my 20s. Um, I've been to every state in the United States of America except Alaska.
Oh, wow.
And now I am a advocate and freedom fighter right here in Houston, Harris County.
Get out of here. So you beat me on. You said that you've been to every state.
Mm-hmm. Every state except Alaska.
Except Alaska.
Don't know if I want to go. Might be too cold. One of the reasons I came to the South, trying to get away from the cold, amongst other things. But yeah, I'm here.
Wow. I thought you have me beat because I've been to at least 40 states, and I thought that was a big deal, which it is still a big deal because you still have people in Houston that have not been outside of Houston. Can you believe that?
Yeah. They stuck to the same side of town.
Exactly. I'm from the north side. Well, where have you traveled? They can't answer that. So yeah. But go ahead and finish what you were saying.
So I am the organizing director and co-founder for Pure Justice.
Okay.
Pure Justice is an organization that works to bring fairness and equity to the criminal justice system, as well as create economic opportunities for marginalized groups.
Okay.
So when you see us, when you see the team, the staff, 9 times out of 10, everybody we hire either are impacted or indirectly impacted.
Okay.
We work around 3 pillars. The 3 pillars we work around is criminal justice reform, economic justice reform, and racial justice reform.
Okay.
You won't see us doing anything or focused on anything that is not catered to those that is directly impacted. We are long term. We are not wraparound services. Even though, sometimes things happen. We've had winter storms, COVID, disasters where things just shut down. And our organization, even though we are a policy org, we will not wait on an elected official or people to come take care of our communities. We will jump into action to make sure that our people know that there is somebody that they can lean on.
That's what's up. That is so powerful. I noticed by coming to some of your meetings, I've been to at least one, or at least two of them. And the thing I like the most is the food. No, I'm just kidding. But he always feeds you really, really good. Those meetings are very powerful, and
Thank
you
you.
have good speakers. And I mean, there's evidence of what you just said. There's evidence of people that you've helped on political level, on a criminal level. I mean, tell me more about that. Like the guy, I forgot his name. We took a picture together, but what did you do for him that was so powerful that made him want to come back to the meeting? He was very vocal and very appreciative, and I was just curious as to what, not without talking too much about his
Well,
particular
oh yeah.
situation.
So first, I like to say our organization, like some of the things that we work on, and then I'm gonna touch on a program that you asked me about. But one,
Okay.
we stay involved in um, voter engagement, access to
Okay.
democracy.
Mhm.
Okay. Next, we've been working around housing.
Okay.
Trying to redefine a few different terms like affordable and second chance.
Mm.
And then, we, as of now, we have a few priorities. One of them is Rise. It's a campaign that you will continuously hear us talk about. Rise is
Okay.
a campaign, which is an acronym, and Rise actually stands for Reimagining Safety for Everyone, because safety looks different to different people and they define it differently. And for some, safety is more law enforcement, more jails, more courts,
Mm.
more DAs. When I go in my community, the people who don't have time to actually go to commissions court, city
Mhm.
council to tell them what they need for safety, they're telling me they need clean socks and clean underwear and deodorant and washing powder, things that me
Just
or you
basics.
would never probably need. They're talking about housing and fair housing, affordable housing, housing that they can live in, equitable wage, employment. But
Mhm.
one of the other priorities is what you just asked me
Mhm.
about the young man and why was it that he like wanted to continuously get involved.
Mhm.
So one of the programs that is a priority right now is participatory defense,
Okay.
and with participatory defense, the whole goal is to ensure people that is experiencing the criminal courts, the legal system,
Mhm.
and have upcoming court dates. What we do is we organize the friends, the family, the loved ones, and people that is attached to the individual, people that they can count on, and we organize them together and we do things like uh, work with the lawyer, not do
Okay.
the lawyer's job,
Uh huh.
but work with the lawyer
Mhm.
and let them know, like you have help, because people a lot of times won't go beyond what they feel they not getting paid for. But when you
Gotcha.
have assistance, it's
Mhm.
like, okay, the things that I can't do, I can pass it to you all, and we
Okay.
create these packages to
Mm.
show how beautiful an individual is, as a person outside of the accusation. So with the
Mm.
participatory defense, what we like, the goal is to one, show the DA and the courts that you are not alone.
Mhm.
It's people that actually love you.
Uh huh.
You have a
That
support
looks different.
system.
Mhm.
We will come and we do show up for you. And not only that, you know, we are redirecting, the light that is shone on you, because what people want to focus on is the accusation. They
Right.
don't want to hear you, don't want to hear what happened.
Mm.
They want to look at that accusation, and that's what everybody focused on, and not who you are as an individual, who you are to the community. If you
Right.
have kids, what do you mean to your family?
Right.
Like, what have you experienced, whether it's good or
What are the
bad.
great things? And and then just like innocent until proven guilty. Let's hear about who you were before you were accused of this crime that we don't even know if you actually are guilty for.
Of course. And on top of, just like the, see, some of us, we have real problems, right? But our problems is not that we are a danger and a threat to society because I want to be a danger and a threat to society, but sometimes we have things going on like mental health issues.
That's true.
And it's not being addressed, it's not being talked about. And when you come from our community, when you're dealing with mental health issues, we don't like to sit up there and acknowledge
That's true.
the mental health issues you have. We just want to throw you away as if you are
It's crazy and you're a threat to society.
right.
Yeah. I mean, you can think about all the way as far back as I would say as far back as slavery, how people have always had mental issues. I mean, think about the slaves. They probably had PTSD a long time ago, but they didn't get any help for that because, that wasn't something that was offered to our people. It was mostly just uh, other people's types of.
We was born into, and I know I'm like, all of the viewers know this here, but we was born into generational trauma.
Yeah, we
was born into, a lot of us was born into generational poverty that creates a domino effect of issues that a whole bunch of people that don't look like us may not never begin to understand because a lot of them, it's just we come from different spaces.
Our trauma is totally different. The next man's.
Of course. Over 400 years of slavery.
I wonder, does that go down into your DNA? Is it just like get inside of your bone? The babies are born under stress. You think about a mother carrying a baby and whatever stress she's going through during her pregnancy, it carries on to that baby. Those babies can come out stressed, so it might not be like, a genetic thing, but it's just the feelings. We take on the feelings of our parents. We take on the feelings of the way our mothers carried us. If your mother was angry when she was pregnant, that baby coming. I have kids, so I know some of them came out pretty mad because I was mad. So yeah, but let's talk about more about some of the things that you guys do when you go down to City Hall and you petition for this A, B, and C. And what types of things are you more concerned about right now as far as the movement?
One of the biggest concerns is safety.
Okay.
And this is one of the reasons that we are working the RISE campaign, which is Reimagining Safety for Everyone.
Right.
It's a coalition of organizations that we put together. I believe it may be a little bit over 30 organizations right now involved with the RISE campaign, pushing this forward. And again, that acronym is Reimagining Safety for Everyone.
For everyone.
Okay. And I want to say this when it comes to safety. We would never, ever be able to jail and imprison our problems away. It just won't happen. I don't care how many jails you build, how many DAs you hire to put people in jail, how many police you put on the streets to continuously police people who may be forced to live in survival mode. It is not going to ever save anybody. Law enforcement is reactive. They will forever be reactive. And if we want to position ourselves to get in front of people doing things outside the law, and I want to say position ourselves to do things to prevent people from doing outside the law, because I hate using that C word.
Okay.
That C word is a derogatory word for me, and it's like the new school nigger word. If we ever want to get in front of preventing people from doing things outside the law, if we want to liberate our people, save our mothers and fathers and elders, the children, our communities, we got to give them access to resources and opportunity. That is the only way to liberate people. That is the only way that we can create safe spaces, because most of the time when you come from where I come from, I can't speak about where other people come from, but I'm talking about when you come from impoverished spaces. Most of the time people do things outside the law coming from an impoverished space is because of what they don't have. So like Lil James ain't just running around selling dope for no reason. Little James is selling dope because nobody want to give him an economic opportunity.
Yeah, most times it's for survival.
And when you give Lil James an economic opportunity, they want to pay you the littlest wage ever regardless of James being 30 with
Right.
a 7-year-old daughter, regardless of him having to take care of his household,
Well, you got to have
they
an
want to.
education now, even just to work at a fast food. But I mean that won't apply to every. I know you're not saying like every person that's out there breaking the law, trying to survive, doing things, going about things the wrong way, is doing it for right reasons. But they do need resources to make things better so that they won't continue or to even have that mindset to where they feel like they have to do this.
Do you know that the people that pay the most taxes is the people who make the smallest wage?
Money. Mm-hmm.
And while giving, our government the money, our tax dollars that we're working hard for,
Mm-hmm.
when we turn around and give them that money, they turning around, a lot of them, turning around and trying to figure out how to creatively figure out how to use that money
Mm-hmm.
to criminalize those that are stuck in survival
Isn't that
mode,
crazy?
instead of taking the tax dollars from the people who paid the
And
most
putting
in
it back into
taxes
the
to invest in the
community.
needs of the community,
Mm-hmm.
like our education,
Right.
like our housing and fair housing, or addressing food
Mm-hmm.
insecurities and building grocery stores and grocery deserts, or investing in mental health and drug treatment facilities, or
Oh yes,
even,
amen.
if people don't want to hire Roshan
Mm-hmm.
because Roshan has a record,
Right.
invest in organizations that's doing grassroots organizing and bringing resources into spaces that
Right.
most people are afraid to go in, because we
Mm-hmm.
are the people that's going to hire the people that need the opportunities when nobody else is going to hire them.
One thing that I've seen with my own eyes is a person that will go to be in jail and prison for a while. They come out. Let's say they had a drug problem before they went in, so they got locked up for either like let's say selling drugs or what have you, and using drugs. Then they stay in there so long. They come out and they're put out into society without any skills to you know learn how to work on computers, or be able to at least sustain a job at a fast food restaurant because now everything is
Digital.
digital. There you go. And they're being locked up for years, so by the time they come out, they're behind. And then I see where there's no resources for them. It's no mental health. No, I haven't seen it, and I would like to see them put, not just put a person in a halfway house. Um, what about the resources? What about their mental health? What about their insurance? What about preparing them for the job skills? All of these things, and then so it's like a setup to me to where I'm not going to give you these resources. I'm just going to let you out because we know you'll be back. That's how it seems to me. It's like you'll be back. Just
Mm-hmm.
going out there for a little while. We'll give you a
Mm-hmm.
little test to see, what you're gonna do, how long you, but you'll be
Yeah,
back.
and we
We're
come
not
back.
gonna help you be successful. We're just gonna wait and see what
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yeah, you know, and I'm gonna go back to what I was talking about earlier, but I'm not gonna use Lil James. I'm gonna use Roshan because I am them.
Okay.
Like, when I go inside the jail, I am a mirror reflection of the people that's inside. I'm just on the other side. So I'm gonna use myself. When people want to look at Roshan,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not a thief, all right? Never stole, but I have friends that stole, but I'm gonna use my name anyway. But
Uh-huh.
when you looking at people that is uh, doing things like breaking into homes when
Mm-hmm.
they think nobody there, or doing B&Es on businesses when it's closed, like, again, like, people not just breaking into buildings for the fun of it.
Right.
Like, people breaking into buildings because of everything that they don't have, all of the opportunities that is closed down to them.
Mm-hmm.
I was a 17-year-old boy. Let me bag up.
Okay.
I jumped in the streets before 17. I thought I knew way more about the streets than what I actually knew. By the time I turned 17, I got sucked into the criminal and justice system behind a false accusation, with inadequate counsel,
Okay.
and not the appropriate support system. And I say not the appropriate support system because I had a support system.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my support system was the support system that will protect me in the streets.
In the streets, okay.
They would not stand up
They,
uh, against the courts or law enforcement, with me. Like, that is
right.
where.
And if you don't have money to, at that time
Mhm.
to buy the support,
I mean,
you need,
at 17, I didn't even understand why it was important for me to invest in a lawyer.
Right.
When I truly believe that as long as you told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, everything will be okay.
Help you.
And
it's not always the case.
So ultimately, I signed a plea deal to avoid 15 years in prison, not because I committed or did something against the law, because I didn't, but because I had an angry parent, because I had a DA that knew I shouldn't have been there, but they don't like to throw cases out or lose. Yeah. And then I had a lawyer that was only paid $1,000 from my wrestling coach. And it put me in a situation to where the protection I should have had, I didn't, as a black boy in a courtroom alone.
Oh my gosh.
Now that, and I'm going somewhere with this, and I'm saying this because it actually led me down a line of what felt like to be a never-ending cycle of the criminal injustice system. So now, I'm set up to where when I moved to Texas at 21, this is when I really understood like what happened to me as a 17-year-old boy when I came here trying to get a job in housing. It was 1 year, I swear to God, I had 16 W-2s. When I went to go do my taxes at the end of the year, they was laughing and joking and calling me Jamaican. Yeah. They had no idea that the reason I had so many jobs is because nobody wanted to give me a job. So I ended up starting to have to lie on applications in order to make a little money to take care of myself like an adult. But when people found out about the record, they would let me go.
Yeah.
And it was the same with the house. And it was like, I was getting like it. I was put in a space to where everything was closing in and falling on me.
Oh my gosh.
Like my housing, it was so limited to where, like nobody would give me a space to live because of a record that they didn't understand that I had or how I got it. Okay. Everybody was like legally being biased and racist towards me with a record. When I shouldn't have had this record
in the first
anyway.
Place. Okay, well, let's talk about that too. Okay. Talk about that because that's what your book is about. It says stolen identity.
But I did want to give you a real quick
give me
point,
real quick.
And I'm
before
sorry.
we get there.
So, and I'm a long story short. Everybody that has a case pending, everybody that's on probation and parole, everybody that's incarcerated or in prison is not in prison or impacted by the system because they were actually guilty of what they were accused of, and we forget that.
We know that. It's true.
And when people get these records, one of the first things that we like to say or do, or as an employer or as someone who has housing, say, well, I can't house you because you carry this record,
right,
or that record. And then people start seeing, the list of charges, and they say, well,
you have more than one.
They keep getting charges. Right. But it's like, once you get sucked into that system, how do you like change course when like everything you have or should have access to, people look at you and deny it from you? Like housing. Everybody need housing.
And then people, those same
like employment.
People, they find themselves going back into the same trap.
How do I feed myself?
Oh wow, this is
panhandle, prostitute, sell drugs, jack, rob, B&Es.
So what is the solution? I mean, I know you said we need resources, but where does it start? Where do we start?
So
just tell me that.
One, we need to create a protected class. All right. That protected class should be a law or policy that prevents any employer and anyone that has housing, apartment managers, homeowners, housing, any housing that prevent people from discriminating against people that hold a record or records from the things that everybody needs. We need to have a protected class so you cannot deny people that have a record of housing.
Okay. I agree with you
We
on
need to
that.
have a protected class so you can't deny me of employment. It's
Right.
like, okay, you have a felony for domestic violence, which is, still we don't know what happened in
Right.
that case.
Right.
Now,
You
I'm
shouldn't be retried trying to apply for an apartment and
right,
having to re-explain.
right, or a job.
Yeah, yeah. But it depends on, what the felony is. Now, I'm a realtor, so I know I see a lot of this, and it hurts me that I can't even help some of my people sometimes because when the owners see that the person has a felony or whatever, they want to say, okay, well, let me see if it's within 5 years, and then you show them that it's over 5 years, and they say, well, um, it, anything under 10 years we can't take, so it goes from 5 years to 10 years of being not being able to qualify this person. And it really is supposed to be certain types of felonies, or if it's not offenders, or if it's not a drug case or what have you, then it shouldn't be okay. You wrote a bad check or something, and you got a felony, a F3, I think it is what it would be. These people are still getting denied,
Yeah.
but it's subjective though. Is certain people are getting
Right.
denied because I deal with all classes of people in real estate, but the ones that have the hardest time getting the house is the ones of black and brown. Yeah,
Black and brown.
yeah, and this so I'm telling you, like I could really like if I could be like a private detective and tell the Texas Real Estate Commission what's really going on, a lot of realtors would lose, a lot of home would lose their jobs because I think
Yeah.
that they even know that this is what their owners are doing, but they have to make money, so they're like trying to protect the owners. They can't say, "Well, my owner doesn't really want to accept your application because you're brown and you have a record." They just pretty much just say, "Well, they have an excuse now. The record shows for itself. Well, we can't accept that."
Back in slavery, they would feed us the scraps and things that they didn't want, right?
Yep.
Like
Chitlins
the
and
lobsters,
the
the
nose,
crabs,
the chitlin, the
like the lobsters and the crabs.
oh
They didn't know that that was a good meal until the
oh the lobsters
slaves.
and the crabs. I thought you was talking about the
Until
pork.
I'm about to get to that too. But until the slaves figured out that like these lobsters and crabs, in spite of having a shell around it, it's some really good meat there.
It's some really good meat.
And then when they realized, the slave owners were like, "Oh, we giving them this? Hold on now." And now, they take that back. They give us some other stuff. Now they
Yeah.
cutting out the noses and the ears and
Right.
the pig feet and the chicken feet and the
Mhm.
intestines,
Yeah,
the chitlins, right?
Yeah.
Then we figure out
Gizzards and
how to make those pretty good,
good.
and decent, right? Now they want to eat the chitlins and stuff because like, what is that? That smells
Look at
really,
oxtails.
that looks real nice.
Oxtails
Right.
used to be the
And-
bottom, the lowest thing. It used to be the cheapest, and now they're like $10 a pound. When they figured out that we like them, we know how to fix them. It's a delicacy
Right.
now. Oh no!
Well, and I'm
Let's
saying
make some
this
money off of
because
this.
we're creative. We are
Yeah.
naturally creative.
Mm-hmm.
And we are born into generational poverty, since the time that we was let off the cotton fields.
That's right.
Since we was let off the cotton fields, they moved us off the cotton field. But yet, like we put the slave owners and the slave families into a space to where they will forever probably be born into generational wealth off our backs.
Yeah.
And they made a point to box us out of any resources that they could box us out of, and still doing it to this day. And then they want to criminalize us when we get creative.
Yeah.
When you keep making sure that there is not enough resources in our communities for us to grow and live and survive. So what happens is, like our communities is like, and people want to talk about violent people and violent this and that person just robbed that person. But when you have a space or group or area of people that don't have resources, everybody is forced to live in survival mode. They come up as the people next door, and around the corner. So like they doing things outside of who they are because they don't know who they are. So like the only way to create the safe space is to give them what they need, right?
But do we just give it to them, or do we help them in a different way that would help them earn? Okay,
we already earned it.
Okay,
we built this country.
Yeah.
and we pay our taxes, and our tax
But you know that's a
dollars,
question that people want to know.
we give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
We give it to them. People need food.
Oh, that definitely.
People need housing.
Yeah, yeah.
People need.
But you know the saying is that hand me outs. They feel like they're giving us things
Ain't
that
nobody
we're
giving us nothing.
not
We
at all.
earned everything.
Hmm.
We earned a lot of stuff
And I
that
have
we
to play
don't
devil's
have.
advocate because those questions we got to be able to answer those questions. What do you say to them when they say, "Well, you need to get a job"? Okay, you need to get a
We've been
job.
working.
We've been
We've
we
been
built
trying
this
to get
whole
a job too.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um. I mean, there's so many things that have going on in my head that I've heard, but we'll be here all day if we talk about it. So
Hmm.
we definitely got to get to your book.
Oh, and that was another thing. I'm sorry, I got thrown off a little bit. But
Okay.
you asked me about, like, so my story, and I want to put this out there because not everybody that gets incarcerated is guilty of the accusation.
That's
So
right.
my charge at 17 again, not, and I want to take you there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the ninth grade. I
Okay.
got cars. I got a spot living with my homeboys. It was my homeboy baby mama actually. But I didn't have curfews. I didn't have to sneak out. Like I pretty much could do whatever I wanted to do in the ninth, 10th grade. And
And just because your mom allowed you
no, because
the
I was
freedom,
I was on my own.
you was
I
on your
left my
own.
mom, so I left my mama house in the 7th grade.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I went back in the 7th, but I left again in the 8th. Went
Mm-hmm.
back in the 8th, but in the ninth grade, that was it.
Okay.
I said I'm not going back home ever again. My mom was young when she had me. She was figuring out who she is.
Okay.
I'm figuring out who I am as we both got older.
Y'all kind of clash or what?
Right.
Okay.
And I had to get out of there.
Yeah.
So when I was 17, it was a female I met a few years prior to this date. The date that she actually came to hang out with me at my house, and I met her
Mm-hmm.
because of her mama. Her mama, when she seen me, was so infatuated with me, and I just had to meet her daughter.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's like, oh my God, you got to meet my daughter. This, that,
Oh,
and the
okay.
other.
That type of
And
thing.
we exchanged numbers not because I just met a female that I wanted to exchange numbers with, but because this mama, was like, hey, this is my
saw
daughter.
something in you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we exchanged numbers like 2 years down the line. I actually called this girl over this particular night. Why did I pick this girl?
What
I'm gonna be
happened?
straight. I mean, it was what it was, and I called her because I knew who I was calling. And I called her over, and when she came over, I didn't know that she snuck away from her home. Now, her mama told her that she can go in the front yard and do not leave that front yard. I had no idea that mama told her not to leave the front yard.
Okay.
On the way
But
to
why?
go,
Wait. Why were you calling her though?
I was calling her because my homeboys that was 2 years older than me, because I was a little homie. They
See,
asked
what
me.
had happened was
They asked me to call some females over,
okay.
and I figured this
She was
will
one
be
of them.
right.
Yeah.
So
they would come over.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I called. They home from college, and she like, yeah, come get me. Give me the address. I go pick her up with my two homeboys.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to the house, she tell me, don't meet me at my house. Like, come pick me up at the corner. I'm like, come on, we almost there. She get in the car. We don't even talk in the car. She went instantly in my pants. I'm instantly up under her shirt. We touching each other, doing what we want to do, which is be grown when adults wasn't around.
Yeah.
We went back to the spot. Me and my homeboys, like I said, I was a young homie.
Mm-hmm.
We was outside talking, laughing and joking. There was a few other people in the house as well. She went in with them. And by the time me and my homeboys,
Fast little girl.
she was very fast. Mm-hmm. And by the time me and my homeboys, my two homeboys went in the house, when I looked around, I didn't see her. And I'm like, where's LaToya at? And that is her name, the actual name.
Is that in your book?
It is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I say, where's LaToya at? They say, she's upstairs. She was upstairs in my room, butt naked, with her clothes off. So I did the same thing.
Okay.
I took my clothes off, got in the bed with her, couldn't get an erection to save my life. I'm trying, but I got my big homies standing in the back of the bed, on the side of the bed, so in the doorway. Right, they looking in the vent. you know, and I ain't never had, like, normally when the women is there, they for the older homies, not me.
Okay.
You know, this was my first time, you know, and I just,
and then you had everybody watching.
I couldn't, the hardest I can get it was to ejaculate on the floor where her coat was.
Wow.
And it was embarrassing. I ended up putting my coat back on.
Well, you were just 17. I mean,
yeah, I was 17.
Okay.
I was a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And I want to make that clear. You know, we was 1 year and 4 months apart.
Right.
Still 1 year and 4 months apart.
But she was older.
No, she's 1 year and 4 months younger than me.
Younger than you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we go downstairs, and on the way down the stairs, she stopped the second stair down from the bottom, and she's whispering back and forth of one of the older homies on the other side of the rail. And guess what his name was? Just take a guess.
Bobby.
Roshan.
No, you got to be
Roshan. His name was Roshan.
I didn't want to say Roshan.
Yep, his name was Roshan. He was 2 years older than me. They whispering back and forth in each other's ear. They looking at me, laughing, cracking jokes, and I ignored them. I'm like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can talk trash. It is what it is. They end up holding hands, going back upstairs. They had consensual sex. Okay, they came back downstairs. They still hanging out, chilling.
So you didn't even
never.
Okay.
Not even once. We never even kissed.
Okay.
Like, we just touched each other.
Okay, and both of y'all's name was Roshan. Well, his
my name
was
Roshan. His name is Rashad.
R-A-S-H-A-D.
He's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And this girl snuck away from her home.
So
now we chilling, or they chilling.
Mm-hmm.
And while she's chilling with him, now my cell phone starts to ring. Ring, ring, ring. Ring, ring, ring. It's her mama calling my phone.
Where's her daughter?
But I didn't answer.
Oh.
So I took the phone to the daughter, and she looked at the phone and said, I ain't getting it.
Okay.
The mama kept calling and kept calling and kept calling. The girl didn't want to answer. I wasn't answering it either. It wasn't my mama.
Right.
And I wasn't finna deal with it. I'm like, I don't care. Whatever it is you got going on,
mama knew she was supposed to have her butt home by a certain time.
She wasn't supposed to leave. Her mama told her to stay in the front yard.
That's right.
I didn't know she snuck away, right? So now we on the way to drop her up. When the mama stopped calling, Latoya Raquel English said
a whole name.
Latoya Raquel English said, you can take me home now. Same people who picked her up was the same people who dropped her off.
Okay.
Now, on the way to drop her off, before we got to this girl's house, Latoya Raquel English house, she said, do not take me home. Drop me back off at the same corner you picked me up from. So we dropped her off at the corner. I thought nothing of it. I'm like, whatever. The very next morning, well, within a couple hours, two of my homeboys was twins, okay? And they mama just came home from prison. So since they mama just came home from prison, it was Christmas. They was home from college. They wanted to cook her a Christmas meal. So we all went to their grandparents' house. Everybody left except one of the twins.
Okay.
While that meal was getting prepared, a few hours later, that twin came to the grandmama's house and said, hey, Roshan, the police was looking for you. And I was like, yeah, right. He like, for real. I'm like, okay. He like, they was looking for you for kidnapping. I'm like, okay. He like, for kidnapping. Wow. I'm like, whatever. He like, okay. I'm like, all right. Yeah. And that was that.
Yeah. You didn't even entertain him because you were like, right. That's impossible.
And it wasn't no seniority in his voice. It wasn't like he was serious. It's like, yo. And I'm like, and he like, I'm like, okay. So then I was a freestyle folk style, All-American state Greco folk style wrestler.
Oh, right? Okay.
What? Freestyle, yeah.
Okay. Still got it in you?
I think so. But a couple weeks later, my assistant wrestling coach, he said,
you got 10 minutes.
Hey, Roshan, what have you got yourself into? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, no, I don't. But the charge changed from kidnapping to rape. And I'm like,
no. So that's what the book is all about, basically.
So then I end up calling the girl to see what's happening. And when I call her, she's answering the phone with so much enthusiasm and energy. But when she hear my voice, she won't say nothing. You know, I called her a couple times. I wrote a 16-page statement, turned myself in the next morning. They looked at my statement, disregarded it as an angry parent. And then a couple weeks after that, I actually bumped into Latoya Raquel English in Flint, Genesee Valley Mall. And when she bumped into me, she took off walking away from her brothers real
But
fast.
why would she do? I mean, which?
And when I finally caught up with her on the outside of the door at Flint, Genesee Valley Mall, she just bust out in tears. She was like, "I'm sorry. It's not
Sorry,
me.
it's not
It's
gonna
my
fix this.
mama, and I don't know what to do." And she just crying. I'm like, "Just tell her the truth."
Just
She
tell
like,
her
"I
the truth will
did, but
set
she
you
ain't
free.
listening to me." But it was more happening
Wow.
than I knew, and she most certainly,
Wow.
like created a situation to where an in-home problem became an out-home
But
problem.
wouldn't they try to identify, like, you went to jail behind this, right?
I didn't go to, and it's in stolen identity. It is in here, but I actually signed for probation.
Okay.
My charge was touching a minor.
Oh.
Even though the
Y'all about
Michigan
it.
law states you cannot legally have sex unless you are 18 years of age, and I was 17. We both was under 18.
Yeah.
But that the law also states between the ages of 13 and 16, you are considered a minor and cannot have sex unless you have a legal parent or guardian's
That's where it
consent.
gets tricky. Yeah.
I was in a gray area, 17. We're 1 year and 4 months apart, puts her in between the 13 and 16.
Right.
Now they pushed me into a deal, which I believe if I would have fought it, I don't think it would have been no way that they would have been able to charge me. And like I said from the beginning, we never had sex ever in life, not even once. Never even kissed this girl.
Well, how do you get that removed? We got about 10 minutes. We're gonna wrap it up. But I need to know, what is the end game? How did you get yourself past this obstacle?
So I left my mama house in middle school. I am somebody who know how to survive.
Apparently, yeah.
I am very business savvy, and I was fortunate enough to know how to maneuver from outside the law to within the law.
Okay.
Which that's where it get real technical for people who stuck in survival mode because they don't know how to, use their skills in a different space doing the same thing.
Right. And you were able to master that.
I'm still learning.
You still learning?
I still got a lot to learn.
But you did great to come this far, and now you're independent. I mean, is there any scars on your record as a result of all that today?
I am forever gonna carry an invisible chain around my neck that nobody can see and feel, or I'm gonna forever walk around with an anchor wrapped around my leg that nobody know exists, except people who carry the invisible chains and the anchors around their legs and necks, just like me.
Yeah.
Regardless of the record expungements,
right.
Regardless
that was an experience
of a record being sealed, regardless of me growing in the way that you see me right now, pure justice advocate, for just for our people and the needs of the people. Like, I'm always gonna carry something that many people would never understand.
It's like a scar.
I'm always
especially
gonna be
when
here.
you're being blamed for something that you didn't do. Nobody wants to be blamed for that. But look, all the stuff that you had to go through legally, mentally, and on your record, and and all this stuff. And
one thing I know, is that our challenges and the obstacles that we experience, they are purposeful. Like, our life has purpose.
That's true.
Like, all of our hardships has purpose. And the purpose of our hardships is to pull out something beautiful in you, to show you who you are and what you can actually, like, what you can navigate through.
Right.
Like, what I've experienced, which is one of the roughest and the hardest things that anybody can go through. Like, this right here is motivation for the world.
There you go.
To show them that regardless of what you've been through, regardless of what you are experiencing, you can do it.
Well, I can see definitely where that experience is like the thing in the Bible. It says, what the enemy meant for bad, God turn around for your good. So I'm a spiritual person, so I just want to say, I think that you were chosen. It had to happen so that you can do what you're doing now and serve your purpose of helping other people. So just say it like a sacrificial lamb.
Can't get diamonds without pressure.
There you go. There you go. So that's going to conclude our segment with talking about the pure justice. But we're gonna have to come back because there's just so much more to you, and I just feel like we only scratched the surface
And
a
I
little
love to
bit.
give it to you.
Yes,
I'm a
we got
I'm an
much
open
more.
book.
Open book.
Literally,
You
I am an
guys
open book.
look at this book, Stolen Identity. Tell them where they can get your book and tell them about your social media.
Please check out Stolen Identity on a Pure Justice website that tell you about how I was sucked into the criminal injustice system as a boy and what I've had to experience going through, from this point to this point. Order the book on purejustice.org. That's purejustice.org. Check us out on Facebook. That's Pure Justice at Facebook. Pure Justice underscore HTX on Instagram. Pure Justice underscore HTX on Twitter. Pure Justice underscore HTX on TikTok. And Pure Justice on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roshan. I appreciate you coming to the I Am Everywhere podcast. And I think we have a lot in common. So, with that said, we're getting ready to wrap this up. I want to give a special thanks to my daughter who's standing on the opposite end of this podcast. She's always hanging with me and going places with me and taping and filming and just being supportive, and I really appreciate her. Her name is Charisma. So that, anyways, you guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll be doing this again next Tuesday, and next Tuesday we will have a rapper, which is his name is Double OK, but he's not just a particular rapper, just any kind of rapper. He is a gospel rapper. Okay, now in case you don't know, gospel rap is on the rise, and I'm also a part of that movement. So you will be able to hear some of my music that I'm making and some of my stories along the journey. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Tuesday on the I Am Everywhere podcast. Yay!